getting into crypto. I was mining Bitcoin when Bitcoin was very inexpensive. It was about $1. I had a lot of data center space and a lot of energy that I could use. So I was an early Bitcoin miner. Was making about 3 Bitcoins per day for, well, I mean, the difficulty increased rapidly from then on. But I was mining for about 2.5 years or so. Then I started dabbling in other protocols. I played with Litecoin. Ultimately, I did some development with Ethereum. And literally last week, launched Zen crypto, um, and it's a 400 lines of code. It's pretty simple. And what makes Zen different is that the founding team has no allocation. There was no supply to start with, and it has a unique features in terms of the protocol functionality, where Bitcoin was proof of work, and then there was many other protocols that are specifically proof of stake. In Zen's case, this is proof of participation, where the crypto itself isn't worth anything when you mint it. It's free. It's free to you to mint, and all you need to do is pay a little bit of gas, start your timer when you want to receive your Zen, which is could be 1 day out or could be 400 days out, depends on how long you want to be waiting. The longer you wait, the more Zen gets minted, and afterwards you can do whatever you want with it. So that's kind of what the setup is today.
Great. Yeah, like one thing that really is different about your project was what you just talked about is starting at zero. So like you said, a lot of times what happens is, the project mints a whole bunch of tokens, and after the project mints tokens, they give them to like exchanges or whatnot, or they sell them via whatever way they can sell them, and then they use them for like investment purposes. So it's really interesting, the whole idea of starting at zero. And also yeah, that's something that's very unique to your project. And what, like, can I just ask you directly, like, why did you do it this way? Is it just because you just like think it's the fairest way to start a project?
Yes, I wanted the project to launch in a fair way, and I also wanted it to be modeled after Bitcoin. So Bitcoin had no value, and there was no Bitcoin available. The miners literally brought it into being from nowhere, and so I thought it would be an interesting way to go back to the roots of blockchain and roots of crypto, and start a project that's really focusing on the fundamentals of the crypto technology and blockchain specifically.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's very unique and something that really caught my attention to how it was delivered. And you don't have to worry about like if someone in the project team is going to sell a bunch of tokens and bring the price down. So yeah, like I think that's very unique. Now, as far as the minting, before I talk to a project, I literally go do like a huge investigation and like check it out. So like I have to tell you, it's probably one of the easiest things that you could probably do. I think if you can use a digital wallet, you can probably mint tokens on the site. So I thought the setup in the ecosystem platform is so easy to use. How, did you actually design everything yourself, or you have a team working with you?
We have a team. All of the formulas were designed by me. So in terms of the social engagement, ease of use, all of it was kind of like really envisioned by myself, because I wanted it to be the lowest barrier to entry crypto, so that my mom could learn about it. My grandma knows how to use it, and I can even tell my dog that this crypto is relatively safe, because you just pay a little bit of gas, and then you produce this crypto yourself. And so that was the goal. It's an educational, social crypto that helps people to get into crypto that are otherwise were afraid to get in because they didn't want to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is like super low. Like I think on BSC it's like a couple of cents, and then on Ethereum it's a little bit more expensive. But like I think you're that point of having the lower barrier to entry is something that everyone can be mindful of. And because when they first start out in crypto, they're like, how much do I have to put in? And that's something that I think we all hear.
Yeah, and many times, as you mentioned before, a lot of cryptos are started with pre-allocation, and we don't even know who the founders are. So the biggest difference here is that everybody know who I am and what I'm about, and I don't have any crypto, so I cannot possibly take advantage of the market participants and just dump a lot of crypto on their heads. It's unique in a way that, I mean, it's unique, yet it borrows most of its economics from Bitcoin. But it's unique in a way that it is the community itself that brings this crypto into life, and no one else does it. Because, like, if you think about it, it is so simple to copy, paste in contract, and then mint a billion coins that are not worth anything, and then try to raise money with it and promise some sort of utility. That is kind of like almost always never passes the Howey test. And for those people who don't know what the Howey test is that's how the SEC judges whether you're listing a security, and it's whether it's authorized or not, or whether it's crypto, which is generally a commodity. So with Zen, you have no expectations. The contract is immutable. It's on chain. It's open source. It has no admin keys, so my team cannot change anything about the contract. It's described to a very minute detail in the white paper, and everybody knows what they're getting into. And yet, it has none of the negative features that other protocols or projects may have, like specifically a large allocation. It doesn't even have investors. So there's no board of directors. Investors cannot tell anybody what to do. And even if there were investors, well, the contract is out there and cannot be changed or adjusted. It's simply there for people to play with.
Yeah, exactly. So I have to go into a couple of the questions we got from the community. Like before I go deeper into this, this is a good segue. Like we were talking just a couple of seconds ago about the utility. So you imagine like this project being taken over by the community to add utility in the future. I know you can stake right now on the platform during like APY, but do you guys think that in the future that you're hoping the community comes up with more utility? Is that the goal?
That is certainly what we see happening even now, because there's a lot of teams approaching us and saying, hey, we would like to use Zen to build a project on top of Zen. So we want to use it as the kind of like this financial lubricant, crypto financial lubricant that will help their project to take off. And the contract is interesting because it has the onboarding feature built in. So in other words, the more people you invite to participate, the better your rewards are. And it helps everybody to amplify everybody's rewards. And yet it has the difficulty that's increasing every day. So every day you will be minting a little bit less Zen. It depends on when you join. So there's time-based difficulty, and then there's the social amplification. The more people join the contract after you joined, the more Zen will be produced for you and the rest of the community as well. So imagine this. Imagine that we hit 100 million users this year, for example. I'm not saying it's whether it's going to happen or not, but let's say that it does happen. What does it mean for the rest of the crypto world? It actually means that Zen likely will be accepted as a token of exchange for many different DeFi protocols, perhaps many different games, play-to-earn games. It could actually bring a lot of people into crypto. Specifically, 96% of the world is not even using crypto right now. That is the main battleground, is how to onboard those people into crypto safely, while teaching them about crypto, what to do, what's not to do, how to use MetaMask, how to secure your passwords, all of it. That is something what I call first principles of crypto. And I think people need to learn about those principles before they dive in with their money, their hard-earned dollars, or whatever currency that they use. And that is ultimately is the goal. And the benefit is that once you have the giant platform that has a lot of users, then Zen can be used for used as a token of value for many other projects that are coming up.
Yeah, got it. One of the things I also heard from the community that they wanted to ask you was, on CoinGecko and some of the token analytical tools, they say it's like unlimited supply. Is that something that in the future that you are worried about? Because I know like a lot of tokens, a lot of people, the whole point of like Bitcoin was the fixed supply. But like, what's your go-to when someone says, like the price will automatically go down because there's automatically a amount of unlimited amount of coins? Is there anything that you could say to that?
Absolutely. So coins being limited or unlimited is actually a misnomer that people most often misinterpret. What really matters with any crypto project is not the limitations or inflation. What matters is that the ratio of the number of people onboarding onto the crypto as compared to its inflation. Now, Zen is inflationary in the beginning and disinflationary as the time goes by. Specifically, every day you make a little bit less Zen. And eventually, after 8 years, the inflation rate settles right around 2%, and it will never go above that. Now, 2% actually means that when you stake Zen, you will be able to get 2% after 8 years. Now, that doesn't mean that all of the people who hold Zen will be staking it. Therefore, the 2% inflation likely is going to be 0.02% or something like that, maybe 1/10, maybe 1/5 of what the inflation is set on the contract. So as the supply reaches its the top of the parabola, so to speak, eventually it just becomes disinflationary to a point that it flatlines. So very similar to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, you technically cannot mine anymore, but that doesn't really matter because in 8 years you will not be able to mint any more Zen. You will mint just a tiny amount. And just to give you a comparison, at the Genesis day, you can mint close to 60,000 Zen per day. In about 4 years, this number drops to between 10,000 and 30,000 per day. And after 8 years, it becomes only 10 to 20 Zen per day. So 10 to 20 Zen per day versus 30 to 60,000 per day today is a huge difference. You may as well just call it, fractional cents. There is a natural cap. The cap is not absolute, but it is mathematical, and the math is done with the logarithmic function that reduces the supply as you go along until basically it doesn't reduce the supply, it reduces the production, because we didn't start with any supply. There's no supply. And where Bitcoin has a cap with 1 million Bitcoins, Zen doesn't have a cap, but it has a trickle of the coins that will appear after 8 years. So that's how that works.
Got it. Makes sense. Okay. And then I see that I wanted to discuss a little bit more about like you started on Ethereum and then like the gas. I saw like it was like kind of funny because like when I saw you put out a tweet, it was like you are making Ethereum more deflationary. And I actually thought that was really funny, like in a way. I mean, in a funny way. Did you expect that, or is this what you thought would happen?
I did not expect it to be so successful, actually. So, in fact, I thought where we are on day 3, I thought we would be in 6 to 9 months. And so the Ethereum deflation is a nice thing, just because the London changes to Ethereum burns 50% of all gas used. And so Ethereum switched to proof of stake just recently through the merge, which reduced the Ethereum's inflation from about 5% to 0.22%, making Ethereum very, very flat in its inflationary curve. Now, Zen came along, got extremely popular. I think people so far have spent $6 or $7 million on gas fees, which is incredible. It's only been 3 days. And half of that was burned, so Ethereum actually reduced its supply significantly. And you can see it in ultrasound money. Maybe somebody will be able to tweet it, ultrasoundmoney.com or something like that, or maybe ultrasound.money. Anyway, it shows a nice chart where Ethereum is dropping rapidly from its the total supply.
Great. Yeah, I saw that. Actually, I think it's like, you're right, ultrasound money, and you can check it out, and it shows the deflationary part of Ethereum. So when that happened, like, is that why you switched over to another chain, just because you wanted to add more ability for people who didn't want to pay the gas fees? Is that kind of the next documentation of why you did what you did?
No, not specifically. So from the very beginning, we always wanted to be an omni-chain project. Specifically, any chain out there, which is Binance and Ethereum and Polygon, uh, Avalanche, we want to be on every chain because this is how we can onboard the most users in the world. Because different users use different chains. Clearly, I think when we launched Binance yesterday, we had 50% more users on the website. Literally 100,000 people came within just few hours to mint Zen, and the number of wallets connected to Zen protocol on Ethereum is 600,000 something, where on Binance, within a number of hours, it became almost 2 million, I think, which is incredible.
And then for the next step, I'm guessing I read somewhere the next step would probably be like Polygon. Is that the next chain that you guys are looking to add?
Yes, I'm getting together with the backend team today, and if things look good with the web app and everything is functional, we'll probably be launching on Polygon today.
Yeah, it's great. Like I know we have a lot of people in our community that love Polygon, because like whenever I put something about Poly or Matic, I always get huge engagement. So it's glad to see that that's going to be the next chain that you guys are adding.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's great.
absolutely. Yeah, Polygon is next. Probably will be today. Very, very excited about that. And then Avalanche, and potentially there will be some other chains that people are interested in working with. The criteria for chain selection is a chain that is decentralized and unlikely to become a scammer. So I really don't want people to be enticed to go to chains that are ultimately not good for the industry, the crypto industry, and at some point will steal people's money or something like that. So that's not what I want.
Yeah, it makes sense. Also, if you guys are in the community have questions for Jack, you can feel free to send it to me on DM or whatnot, because we want to make sure that they get all their questions asked. Because I know they had a lot of questions on my tweet I put out. So feel free to send us a DM on the Huobi Twitter, and then just put your country where you're calling from or you're sending a message from. So definitely we'll get some other questions asked. So that's great that you're like building multi-chain, and then allowing other community members that have their favorite chain to interact with the protocol. And I think that's like a great step in the right direction, because everyone has their favorite. Like some people are Ethereum, some people Avalanche, whatever. It's really great. So after like all the chains are added, do you have like a roadmap in your mind, or is it somewhere that a lot of people always want to ask, like, what's the next thing after this? Or is it just pretty much you're just going step by step in your mind?
So the next thing is to make a better dashboard, is to have people understand how many people are staking, or how many people are minting, what their mint terms are, what is the like for example, you should know how much liquidity is coming tomorrow to the network, so that you can plan your day accordingly. Like let's say that there's a billion Zen coming tomorrow, and like tomorrow is a special day. I'm not saying it will be, but let's say that it is. You could be then going to Uniswap, or going somewhere to and we'll start placing limit orders, so that people will be able to kind of like predict what will there be more liquidity in the market, and will there be a selling pressure, so that you can should you choose not to mint, you can buy Zen on an exchange.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, like, and if anyone's listening, like obviously XEN is listed on Huobi right now, and then right now the segue that the tweet that's just pinned to the space, we just listed BXEN, and we're accepting deposits. You can't trade it right now. We have to have so many deposits of the protocol, in order to have the trading start. So if you do have the protocol and you just want to you want to safeguard it on Huobi, or you want to do whatever, we are accepting BXEN. And can you explain, I know a lot of questions we had were like, why is one named XEN and the other one's BXEN? Is this because of just the chain? And like when you go to an Avalanche, are you going to have something called like AXEN? Is that your vision for like the naming of the token?
Yeah, I think so. And obviously, Ethereum is the largest player right now. So Ethereum is just plain vanilla Zen, where everything else is will have a prefix with the name
Great.
of the chain.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, I think people are kind of confused by that because they're like, is this a new token? Is this the same thing? And I think it's the reason that, and had a couple of questions about like, why do you have to rename it a different token instead of having it? Is it just because of different pricing, or can you explain that a little bit more?
Okay, so this is what we expect. So we expect some chains to start wrapping Zen that's coming from Ethereum. And because we wanted Zen to be everywhere else, we didn't want that there would be a confusion between the wrapped Zen coming to Binance and then a native Zen trading on Binance. That's one reason. The second reason is that the economic value of Zen is different on Binance just because it's so much cheaper to acquire. I think on Ethereum you pay between $5 to $10 to start your mint. On Binance you pay between 30 to 60 cents to do it. So the difference is literally almost 10 to 15x. So it is the same protocol. Everything is the same. The source code is exactly the same, but the value and the economics surrounding it are completely different. And we have seen it done in the industry before. Like for example, there is a STEF that's being I think it's being traded by Lido or something like that. So there's all kinds of prefixes to the original crypto names. And I understand. Well, like here's another thing I want to mention. Like let's say that there's three different chains and they all trade something called Zen XEN. Now people will unfortunately naturally assume that the value is the same, and they're going to be saying, "Well, I have 1 million Zen on Binance. Why can't I send it to Ethereum?" And there will be a lot of confusion on the difference in value. And so once you have BXEN on Binance, then you know exactly this is a Binance flavored Zen, and then you can wrap it and send it to Avalanche, or you can send it back to Ethereum, and it just will be a little bit better and clearer in terms of what people are seeing.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. Is because we have a lot of users and community members that say like, they think like they get confused about which chain goes where, and like, then they send the wrong crypto to the wrong chain, and then we have to either refund it to them, which takes a long time to dig it out of another blockchain or whatnot. So actually, it's a very different go about it. Actually, for like the newbies, I can actually see this being more easier for them to understand, right? And they don't have to make a mistake to waste their tokens. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
As far as the staking rewards, do you foresee, like, I know like the last time I said, I think it was like 20%. Do you foresee that being like stable, or like, is it going to be like going up and down depending on the need of the community, or what's the like idea behind that?
So staking rewards are starting at 20%, and it's a non-compounding APY, and you can stake for about 1,000 days, and you can do it ASAP. You don't have to mint to stake. You can buy Zen on an exchange and then stake it for 20% every year. The APY reward goes down every 90 days by a percentage point. So every 3 months it drops by 1%. So after a year it's going to drop 4%. After 2 years it's going to drop 8%, and eventually it's going to settle down to 2% and no more than 2. So the earlier you stake and the longer you stake, the APY that you lock will generally be the most optimal.
Got it. Yeah. So as the protocol gets further along, the staking rewards will go down just to alleviate have so much supply. I'm assuming that's why you picked it that way.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately we wanted, so staking is interesting because what it does, it actually burns Zen, and then it will remint it back to you when you're ready to unstake it. And there's no penalties for unstaking. Like should you choose to stake for 1,000 days, you can unstake it tomorrow and you'll have no penalties except some gas. You will not get your APY. Your APY is given to you at the end. And burning Zen when you're staking is great for the supply reduction. It will make supply less liquid, and therefore the value, there should be buying pressure uh, from the interested participants on the exchanges.
Got it. Great. Yep. Makes sense. Going forward, so we talked about the protocol. I know I actually minted myself because I wanted to understand it. But for people that are listening, I'm sure it's like you probably have told us about 1,000 times, but you just go and connect your wallet to the website, which is cn.network, and then select your chain, which is like ETH or BSC. And you need to have Ethereum if you select Ethereum. If you need to have BNB, if you select Binance BSV, and then like, can you kind of take it over from there? Like, what do they do after they have Ethereum or BSC? Do they just click claim and that's it?
So assuming you came and you did your mint, and you did your mint for a number of days, after the number of days you have specified, let's say it's 10 days, you come back after 10 days and you will be greeted by the claim button. You can claim your mint on the day 10, and new Zen will be minted for you with all of the amplifiers. And amplifiers are, there's an early adoption amplifier. It's 10%. It's actually slowly dropping every 100,000 wallets. There is an AMP amplifier. That's an amplifier that reduces by 1 each day, and it's in the beginning it was set to 3,000, and now it's like 2,997. So that's an amplifier that rewards early people that get in. There's also a rank amplifier, so we call it a C rank. Is that what you get first? Your C rank indicates your position in line, and it also tracks how many people have joined the protocol after you joined. So you have incentives to actually bring more people for the rank amplification to be higher. And just to give you an example, so the first day was really hot on Ethereum. Almost 500,000 wallets joined, and during the first day, your total rewards, your total daily rewards or mints were about 60,000 Zen. And then the next day, when the traffic subsided, the amplification has dropped to about 55,000 Zen. So it dropped about 9.5%, just because the social engagement dropped from the first kind of like the social pump that we have experienced. And so yeah, once you click mint, Zen gets transferred to your wallet, and then you can immediately stake it, or you can send it to an exchange, or you can go to Uniswap and trade it there, or you can give it to your friends, or you just do nothing, just hold it. I do recommend to stake it because staking will give you even more rewards afterwards, and then you can reuse the same wallet to resume the mint. So what you can do is you can claim and stake in one transaction by using Zen's web app, and then you can immediately start minting again in parallel. So your mint and stake becomes a parallel operation.
It's interesting because like I think a lot of people thought you could only mint one time, like there's like one time per wallet or something. But that's really interesting to know that a person can literally mint many times as much as they want, which is interesting.
Yes, you can use one wallet to mint, and then you can open up another wallet and start mint again in parallel. And you can open actually 100 wallets if you wanted to, but be mindful that the gas price will eventually be significant because every operation costs gas. And that's actually what makes it resistant to an attack, where somebody with 1 million wallets would have to pay at least $10 million to participate. And then you also have to pay gas on the way out. So once you claim the mint, at the end of the time period you specify, you have to pay a little bit of gas as well. So the risk is there for you to lose your gas if you end up not being able to sell your Zen or do something with it that's worth the gas money that you spend. But hey, I mean, the gas money is like sales tax. We don't really complain about sales tax when we go buy things. I mean, some people do, but it's just something that we assume. Also, we put gas on the car, we charge our cars. It's just something that's given. You have to do it. Spending gas is good. It makes the network more secure. It gives validators of the Ethereum blockchain more reasons to exist, especially in the bear market. And so overall, paying gas will cause the blockchain to be more resistant to attacks, and at the same time, it just gives more incentives for the security of blockchain.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually the gas is what will deter people from like going to that, that discount rack in like Walmart or something where you just have someone just picking up every single thing just because it's cheap. Like that to me, like just it's actually really good to like. I actually see this as like an entrance to getting new people into crypto, not like trying to like get them as much money out of it as possible. And like that mechanism for the gas makes people not just want to like mint away. Like it just makes it more like more fun to make it actually natural incentives, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, this crypto has been designed to onboard the 96% of the people out there safely, and I think everybody who is in the industry today get the benefit. If you hold any tokens out there of any kind, imagine another 100 million people coming into the blockchain, to crypto. That will give us more liquidity. It will give us more adoption, and everybody wins. So there's like very difficult to see how you would lose.
Great. So I have a question from a person in Vietnam. His name is Cian, and he wanted me to ask this question. Um, he says like this is a very interesting experiment, but he wants to. This is a very direct but kind of funny in a way. He asked like this is he is like what are you getting out of all this? Like, I mean, he says it in a joking. He said LOL. He's like you don't have any tokens, so you're not really gaining any economic incentives, and you're also like taking a lot of time out of your day. So he wants to know like what motivates you to like do all this for the community of crypto.
So my motivation is to make the world better, so that everyone can have more of everything in the right kind of way, and I want my children to live in a better world too. So my motivation is, I mean, like a lot of times this question can be related to people that I admire. So what motivated Elon Musk to spend pretty much all of his fortune of 300 million and to start Tesla and SpaceX? That's extremely inspiring. I mean, he pretty much spent all of his money just to do that and just to build another car, but yet his way of thinking and also his success changed the planet's direction, and it forced other companies like BMW and Mercedes and Volkswagen to rethink their uh, electric car strategy. Now we have those amazing cars that there's the all kinds of interesting trucks that are coming out. They're all looking futuristics. There's like Ford F-150 Lightning that's coming out that can power your house. It's amazing. Like he has done that. He had no reason to do it. He had $300 million from selling PayPal, I guess. And yet he felt compelled to make the world better just by, well, inventing another car that is just a paradigm shifting technology. And then he went after doing SpaceX, after the space industry, and changed it too, right? And those two projects were 99.999% unlikely to succeed, were unlikely to succeed. And yet, because they were so important, and because of his drive and his dedication, we now have rockets that land themselves, and we have electric cars coming from every car manufacturer. So this is what ultimately is inspiring to me, and I was inspired by many other people too, the Google founders, so on and so forth. And so I wanted to make an impact too, and this is something that I could do. I had the means to do it, so I did it. And I think it will benefit everyone. It will benefit the world, and it will benefit crypto. It will make crypto more safe by providing education at the fraction of a cost. So a lot of people were complaining, hey, you raised gas for everybody. How dare you to do that? I can't buy my NFTs anymore. I used to pay $3, now I have to pay 15. But now there's Binance. So if you don't like to spend gas on Ethereum, go to Binance and you can spend 30 cents. On Polygon, you should be able to get some inexpensive Zen too. And what it yields is people getting educated, and also people feel compelled talking about it as a safe crypto to get into because of the immutable contract, no admin keys, no ways to turn it off, and no allocation. So there's no economic central authority that can possibly sell all your coins on the community. So that's just cannot happen because it's and we can see that on the blockchain. It's true by consensus. So
Yeah, makes sense. That's interesting that you're inspired by like Elon Musk and like that idea of what he's trying to do, and you took it that idea of doing like going for the greater good, and like seeing that vision, and like you just turned it around to your own vision. It's really inspiring. You know, that you don't hear that every day.
well, I mean, we don't, and yet it's almost a moral imperative to do it. If you can't do it, I mean, if you could do it, wouldn't you do it? Like if I was Elon Musk, wouldn't I have done what he has done? Of course I would. I mean, obviously knowing the future, he didn't know the future, so he took the risk. And we're all grateful.
Yeah, exactly. Makes sense. So, you know, we talked about your background, the project, and a little bit of future. You know, and Hobie has listed this with, you know, just because we want to give our community the opportunity to participate in the ecosystem. So we're welcoming your community to us, and I mean, I think it's something that Hobie is really about is about, you know, we don't like charge money or anything like that. We try not to at all for listings or anything like that. We try to like make it more of a community exchange, and so that's why we listed you know, XEN, and now we're listing the BXEN. So like I think we have the same kind of vision that we want to like give back to the community through whatever means possible to promote, you know, the crypto scene to the worldwide global community. And I think we share some of the same visions that you share, like giving back and making your contribution. So we can appreciate you doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think having good partners is very important. Um, if the first principles of crypto, the way that I see them, um, are upheld, like in other words, it would really be terrible if you know, like let's say that there's a new exchange out there and we don't know who they are, they're not well established. They invite people to send their economic energy, their crypto to that exchange, and then they get hacked or the founders disappear. And we don't even know who the founders are. So I'm glad that you guys actually have all of the people listed, like I can see it on Wikipedia. So there's a little bit more safety compared to some exchange that's very nefarious, and you just would end up sending your crypto and then something they close your account, or you know, those risks do exist, and so we need to be mindful about where we send our coins, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, one thing, the reason why I work for Hobie, and just to be honest, like I actually have been in crypto for quite a while, but the reason I work for Hobie is because they've been around since 2013, and they're like one of the oldest exchanges around. So like they've been around since like obviously 2013, but they've never had any security issues. And also we pride ourselves on like being a more of a community exchange. That's why we try to give all these rewards as much as we can to the community to incentivize them for coming and participating in the global digital asset community. So yeah, like I'm glad that like we had this conversation with you, and like we're really excited about the future. Um, you know, as far as like the protocol and everything going forward, like I know that I wanted to get your take on this person wanted to ask you another question about like the future of the economy. This is something a little bit more broad, but his name is Jason, and his question is you know, he says like, you know, the economy and you know, the global economy is inflation, you have all these things going on in the stock market and everything like that. uh, what's your take on the future of like, you know, the world? I mean, in a sense of like, you know, inflation and all that. Do you see something like where crypto can eventually be an inflation hedge? And what's your take on that?
uh Crypto as an inflation hedge, well, it is certainly has the elements of being an inflation hedge. Unfortunately, while we only have 4% of people participating in crypto, it is very hard for it to be an inflation hedge just because the worldwide liquidity isn't yet there. And anytime there is an issue with the economy, people end up selling crypto for dollars so that they can secure the dollars, so that they can buy food or gas or whatever. Like, we can't yet buy anything with crypto that is significant. So when all of the gas stations accept Zen or any crypto in general, then we're going to see that as more of an inflation hedge. So ultimately, the way that I wanted Zen to be designed is to be an anti-hodl currency, so that it could be used for value exchange as peer-to-peer cash, what the Bitcoin's original founder wanted to do. So Satoshi wrote the paper and he actually called it a P2P cash. So I wanted Zen to be the most widely accepted currency so that people could take it for goods and services. And the only way to achieve that is to receive a good chunk of 96% of the world's population onboarded onto Zen. And then we can actually succeed in making crypto more of an inflation hedge, because people will have an alternative versus their fiat money in terms of buying something that they require for daily living, that is.
Makes sense. Like you see, like if people use it as like peer-to-peer cash, it becomes more of like a currency as opposed to like a store of value, like what people think of Bitcoin, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And the fact that there's unlimited supply, it could potentially, I mean, if there's unlimited supply, then there's not really constraints on peer-to-peer cash, which because there should be always enough, to go back and forth. But you have a restricted supply of anything. There's only a limitation of how much will be on the world, considering how many humans there are in the world. So
Yeah. I mean, like, if you think about it, most of the world's fiat I mean, under normal circumstances, the inflation is about 2%. And the reason why inflation is 2% is because the credit market exists, and you need somebody to get paid for issuing credit. And part of it is the inflation that is required to provide liquidity. And so Zen actually has borrowed from that paradigm and made the inflation to be locked at 2% after 8 years.
nice. Yep, you got it. So this, I have another. We have about 3 questions. I'll try to get through these real quickly because I know you have a lot of things to go on, and we appreciate your time. This is
Sure.
an interesting question. His name is Peter, and he's from Israel. He wants to know, like, why did you quit Google? Because, like, Google's a very well-known company, and they just started to accepting Bitcoin and crypto for like cloud services. But he wanted to know, like, what made you really get out of like being a Google engineer to become like, something else like this?
That's because I wanted, something different in my life. And you think about it, being in a startup for 6 years and seeing it grow from 20 people to 10,000, you get to see the company that's very different. And so I was always interested in smaller projects that could potentially have bigger impact. And at Google, even though that company has been very impactful onto the world, I just felt that I wanted to try it on my own, and so that's why I decided to quit.
Got it. Makes sense. Okay. It's really interesting to see that you've gone a long way from like being so early in Google to being so early in crypto. So
Well, it's. I mean, listen. I started in. I moved to Silicon Valley in 1997, and I actually thought I was late. I thought the computer revolution has passed, and that's it. There's no more money to be made, and nothing like that. Like, literally 97. And then the web browser became hot, and everything got very interesting. And so the reality is that it seems to be in the world of technology, you're never late. You're always early for something. You just need to have your eyes open.
Yeah, if you have your eyes open and you're open to new things and learning about new procedures and everything, then you eventually will learn something, and maybe it'll be like the next big thing. You never know. Um, let's
Yeah,
see. I have
yeah.
two more questions. Uh, okay, this is an interesting question. His name's Sean from Vietnam. He wants to know he wants to know if you have any contacted any other partners to help build the next ecosystem for the token or anything like that. Are you in talks with anything like that, to any other you know I don't know, to build more value for the token?
Yeah, I'm talking to some interesting development groups that want to develop cool things on top of Zen. But if you think about it, this is day 3. Zen's hasn't been even in existence just yet. So I have a lot of people to talk to, about this, and obviously it's super exciting. And there's only so many hours in the day, so I'm trying to do the best I can.
To piggyback on that, when do you sleep?
I woke up 2 hours ago. It was fine. So I do try to prioritize my sleep so that I can be functional during the day. I mean, like, people think that, hey, I just need to work 24/7. I mean, like, no, you're gonna be making stupid decisions. You'll be dysfunctional. You may as well just shut off the world for a bit so that you can do more and be more effective with your time later.
Yeah, I actually think sleep's one of the most important things in the world. That and water. I mean, obviously, but in crypto they say crypto
Yeah.
never sleeps, and you don't sleep
Well,
normally
it
very well.
doesn't sleep. I mean, if you have friends around the world like I do, then we never sleep. I mean, our Telegram group went from so 4 weeks ago, our Telegram group was 500 people, and I thought it would be great to get to 2,000 before launch. Before launch, we got to 6,000, and at launch we were at 12,000, which is incredible. And that's only one group. We have a Japanese group, Chinese group, Polish group, Russian group, Ukrainian group, Czech Republic group, and there's many other groups that I don't even know about, but they're coming up and they're all talking about Zen and they're doing all kinds of interesting things with it. So it's super great. I just totally unexpected that something like that would happen.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like great success. I mean that's really great that you've had that just like so early in the project. You're having so many people join your community. It's really great. Great. I have another question for you. Her name's Sarah. Uh, this is a question for you. This is a really good follow-up question to what you just talked about. You talked about all the groups that you have in the community. Where is like everyone coming from? Do you have like a central community that most of the people have joined from? Can you share anything about where the community is mostly centralized at?
So it's coming from Twitter, mostly. It's I have a lot of Twitter followers, apparently. Like, I wasn't on Twitter for 7 years actually, and when so I follow Elon Musk in terms of the news, and when I realized that Elon may be buying Twitter, I decided to come back to Twitter, and that was in May. So in May I came back to Twitter, and I realized I'm having so many followers. I had like 350,000 followers, and I thought, well, this is interesting. I didn't know that that was the thing. Right now it's almost 380. So I have gotten about 25,000 followers in just last month. And I thought, okay, well, definitely I want to be, engaged with the Twitter community because it got so much better. And so I've been searching for interesting crypto projects out there, and I started talking with different people. A lot of people invited me to streams to stream with them to talk about tokenomics and first principles of crypto, all of those things. And so before I know, people were asking me, when will you release your coin? Like, I would say about 8 weeks ago, somebody on the channel that was hosting me, I was doing a stream, and they kept asking me when I'm going to launch a coin, and I'm like, well, should I launch a coin? Maybe I should. And then I thought seriously about it. I thought, what if I do it? What would it be? And I thought that the best way to do it is to just see if we can do a Bitcoin relaunch, or at least make it fair, because the bar is so low for all of the projects being unfair. Like 99.9% of projects, they're just not fair to people. Like somebody has way too much. There's all kinds of white lists, and there's the airdrops, and there's preferences. And I thought, if we do something completely opposite, completely anti crypto, which I mean, sounds silly, but that's what it is. Going in it from an opposite direction, making it fair, no premium, no admin keys, immutable contract. I didn't even talk to any of the exchanges at all before. Starting with zero supply, everything's transparent. I think that message has resonated with a lot of people, and people from Twitter and from the, I guess, YouTube channels that I've been interviewed at. They just got excited and started to promote me. And so, by the way, all of my videos that I have ever done, all of my streams, they're linked to my Twitter profile. It's jacklevin.com. So if you guys want to see my link tree with all of my videos, it's all there. So check it out.
Great. Yeah, that's really interesting how it built so fast. And then as far as like country wise, would you say like you have a centralized like community as far as like what country is the most popular for your community, would you say?
I think at this point, so yesterday I would have said it's United States. And then the day before, actually, and then when we launched BSC, it became Asia. Like Asia dominated yesterday, and then Eastern Europe dominated too. There was a lot of people from Poland. Right now, right at this very moment, is Indonesia. It's Indonesia and China and Vietnam and Poland. So those countries are dominating. When United States wakes up, probably United States will dominate. So it's, I would say, very widely dispersed at this point, and I'm looking at the real time world map, and I see people just coming from everywhere, just everywhere, and that's amazing because I think being on multi-chain is actually super awesome. So like there's right now 100 people coming from Nigeria. Like Nigeria is extremely hot. And Indonesia is just lit up like a Christmas tree at this point.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it went from the United States to like Asia, and that's circling around. That's really great to see that how crypto moves so very fast. It's very good, interesting to see that development.
Yeah, it certainly does.
All right, let me get to this last question. One moment. Oh, this is actually a really good question from Vietnam. This person, Asbury, wants to know you. He says you built a community so fast with it seems like very little understanding. You just did it. He's like, what would you give advice for someone who wants to like build a community? Because he says that it sounds so simple when you think about it, but actually execution is very difficult. Well, what advice would you give him?
I would say define your ideology and your ideals and be true to them. Lean into what you believe and see if other people actually believe in similar things. If that's the case, then you'll probably be successful.
Yeah, that seems simple enough. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk on crypto about build the community and like always building a base of like people who believe in your project. And it's like actually it seems like a very simple concept, but the execution is very difficult. And so I like the way you talked about how like you found something that was very different than anyone else was doing and maybe a little bit different than most projects, and then you just took your ideals and you went with it. So that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you believe in something, you can immortalize it on the blockchain.
For
And it
sure. Yeah.
becomes a beacon, like, so to speak, right? So
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that we've missed that you want to talk about within the project, the community, or anything like that? Because we have a lot of questions, but I think I've asked a lot already. But I just would like to give you like any open speaking thing to tell what's going on.
yeah, I'm just grateful that the worldwide crypto community is so accepting. I mean, so far, I would say 99% of all the people just very interested in the project. They understand the principles behind it. And so I couldn't be more thankful. I think for myself, I have no, at this point, any sort of payout that I'm expecting from this, because I always told people this isn't about making a quick buck. It's not about making money fast. It's about getting people into crypto safely and to build a worldwide crypto community. Take pretty much all inclusive crypto, all accepting with the sound principles, should be able to get most of the people into this industry, so that we can all be successful. And so I by myself, I am pretty much, I kind of joke, I'm no one, but with the force of the community, we become something special. So, and it's just been an amazing experience. So I'm very thankful.
Yeah, it's really humbled. Like, you sound very humbled by what's going on. So I'm glad to hear that. You know, that humbleness is also like something that a lot of people don't have. So it's really great quality, and I can appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
For sure. All right. Well, I have a couple of questions, but I think we've asked a lot already. So I just wanted to kind of, number one, tell everyone that we are listing the new BXEN and give you some airspace to talk to our community, because I know a lot of our community was wanting to know more about your project, and well, I'm excited to see how it develops. You know, like I actually minted, so I'm ready to see how it goes. I'm going to stake. But you know, I wish you and your project the best, and I look forward to keeping an eye on it and seeing the future with what goes on. You know.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I really
Mhm.
appreciate your time and putting me on the air.
Yeah, no problem, man. And Jack, I wish you have a good rest of the week. I know it's early. Get some coffee and have a great have a great rest of the week. And everyone else who's listening, we're gonna have another AMA tomorrow at 7 p.m. 10 UTC time with another great special guest. So stay tuned for tomorrow. And as always, make sure to check out our new listing. It's just posted on our Twitter. Jack, you've been really amazing. So I want to welcome you back. Anytime you want to come on Huobi, we have a spot for you. Just let us know. So thanks again.
Beautiful. Thanks so much. Let's
Yep.
talk
Have a
again
great
soon.
day. You too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.